Hello once again, everyone. Welcome to Psych Talk by yours truly, Doc Jed Mendoza. This time for our sixth podcast episode. Our title is Relationship of Mental Health to Human Behavior. And that's very much important because it will talks about psychology, education, mental health, and everyday human behavior in simple and very practical way. Once again, Dr. Jed Mendoza, a psychologist and educator, and today we will discuss an important topic: what is the relationship between mental health and human behavior? So, to further discuss some of the details that will cover our topic discussion for today, other people might be asking, why do people suddenly become quiet? Why do some people easily get angry? Why others not? Why do others lose motivation or isolated themselves easily or low self-esteem for others? Why do stress and emotion affects our action? Why others not? So, as we discuss something about mental health, others might be saying something about their ideas, but to further discuss, since last episode we've already discussed something about mental health and psychology, this time we will deepen the discussion on how this affects our daily lives. Okay, so mental health is not only about mental illness, as I've already mentioned to my last podcast. It is also about how we think, feel, behave, and cope with our daily life. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's be reminded that human behavior is strongly connected to our emotions and psychological condition. When a person experiences stress, anxiety, sadness, trauma, or emotional exhaustion, it usually appears through our behavior. So, we should be noted with our behavior because it always affects our daily living, our relationship. Like, for example, a student who suddenly loses interest in studying may be emotionally overwhelmed with a lot of reason. A worker who becomes irritable by experiencing burnout, to whatever reason may be, um, too, like in the workplace, too much exhausted, to consistent workload that is assigned to them. It could also be a child who becomes aggressive, maybe struggling emotional but cannot express feeling properly. So, another reason or condition or an example could be a person who isolates themselves, maybe silently dealing with anxiety or depression. These are some of the behavior that is message and emotions asking for help, which we need to be guided because please be reminded, ladies and gentlemen, there are some increasing number of suicidal ideations or attempts, or others act successfully on such. And before it happens, we need to be guided. So here there are some common questions people may ask, like, is mental health really connected to behavior? What do you expect? Well, definitely the answer is the capital YES, or yes. Very much connected because our thoughts, our emotions experience our actions or influence our actions. Healthy mental health usually helps people think clearly, control emotions, build relationship, and make better decisions. Isn't it? Yeah, it is. So, question number two that other people may ask: can stress change person's attitude? What do you think is the answer? Absolutely, right? much stress can affect patience, concentration, sleep, and emotional control. Some people become silent, others become emotional or easily irritated. There are a lot of questions also which might have something to do with this question. How can we help with someone who is struggling emotionally? Like if we're with a workplace, friends, or even a family member. What should be the things that I need to do to help the person? The first step is listen. Learn to listen without judgment because it's a big help to someone who's struggling some emotional concerns or mental concerns. Because sometimes people do not need immediate advice. They simply need understanding who or the people can accept them for who they are, empathy, and emotional support, especially with the immediate members of the family. Do understand, extend understanding, of course, pray. Another question that may raise to others: in seeking psychological help normal? Yes, the answer is yes. So, consulting a psychologist is similar to consulting a doctor. By physical health, mental health support is part of self-care and emotional well-being. Though, please be noted, ladies and gentlemen, with the difference between the psychiatrist and the psychologist. Psychiatrists are people who are medicine graduates, specialized psychiatry. So, the intervention that they're doing is medication. While psychologist is the one giving advice, counseling, psychotherapy, and giving psychological examination to further know the root cause of the problem. So, as you see the difference, psychiatrist, medical intervention, all your concern will then have an equivalent medications. Well, psychologists more of psychotherapy, which gives a difference to the two professional. While the common denomination of the two, both are using the DSM-5. Both have the capacity to diagnose. Okay, so DSM-5 is actually the statistical manual in measuring diagnosing mental disorder of an individual. So both of them have the right to diagnose an individual, okay, mental condition. So educational psychology perspective is a study how emotion, environment, learning experiences, and behavior affect human development. So take note of that. Because a learner's mental health affects, number one, concentration, motivation, academic performance, relationship, and self-confidence. So you see, if you are not conscious on the effect of mental disorder on you, you might be experiencing a lot of domino effects on this to your character, which might leads you to raise a lot of questions that others hardly have an answer to what's undergoing to them. So, motivation is very much important. Okay, and to close on this topic discussion, please be reminded that behavior is often a reflection of what person is silently experiencing inside. Kindness, empathy, and understanding greatly help someone struggling emotionally. Mental health matters because healthy minds create healthier behavior. Relationship, school, workplace, and communities. So, once again, thank you so much for joining me on today's podcast. Take care of your mind because your mental health shapes your behavior and your life. See you again to my next podcast. Don't forget to like, share, follow me in this YouTube as well as with my wellness psychological services in my Facebook account. Thank you and until next, bye-bye.